The laughter from the dining table echoes down the hallway, sharp, polished, and unmistakably cruel. I'm standing in the kitchen, wiping invisible crumbs off spotless marble, pretending I don't hear the words that have already carved their mark deep into me. She's just a housewife, my mother-in-law says, her tone dripping with casual dismissal. Not everyone's meant for ambition, I suppose. The others chuckle. Her sisters, her friends, my husband's cousins. It's that light, genteel laughter that hides daggers beneath politeness. I pause for a moment, my back still turned, the scent of overbrewed tea filling the air. Just a housewife. It's funny how one word can make you invisible in your own home. When I married Armin 5 years ago, I thought I'd married into a family of dreamers, respected, educated, progressive. But dreams, I learned, were only meant for their sons. Daughters-in-law were expected to maintain them, feed them, and disappear quietly once the plates were cleared. Armin once promised I'd never have to work a day in my life. At the time, it sounded romantic. Now it sounds like a sentence. After the guests leave, I walk to the balcony, watching the city lights blink like indifferent stars. My reflection in the glass looks foreign, hair neatly pinned, eyes too tired to hold resentment. My phone buzzes. A message from my college friend Zara. Remember our old business idea? The handmade candle line? Still think it could work. I stare at the message, half smiling. That idea, 2 girls in a dorm room dreaming about fragrance blends and branding, had once felt like a future. Now it feels like a ghost. Still, something stirs inside me. Later that night, when Armin finally looks up from his phone, I say it softly. Do you think I could start something? Maybe from home? He laughs, not cruelly, just carelessly. Business? You? That's cute, Rania, but relax, huh? You've got everything you need right here. The word cute hangs in the air like a verdict. The next morning, I wake before everyone else. I brew my tea, open my laptop, an old one from college, and search how to start a business from home. The cursor blinks like a challenge. Days turn into weeks. While they think I'm scrolling recipes, I'm registering domains, sketching logos, comparing suppliers. I learn everything from scratch: accounting, packaging, digital marketing, in stolen hours between laundry and dinner prep. I name the brand Lumi, light born from darkness. At first, it's just candles, lavender, rose, oud. I pour each one myself, late into the night, hands trembling from exhaustion, heart pounding with quiet defiance. I post the first batch online. 10 candles, no expectations. The next morning, I wake to find all 10 sold out. It's a small victory, but the first spark of something that feels dangerously like hope. Zara calls. Told you, didn't I? There's a market for this. Keep going. But in this house, success is suspicious when it doesn't come with permission. When the first bulk order arrives, 50 candles for a boutique in Karachi, I have to hide the invoice under the flower jar. I turn the guest room into a workshop. The scent of wax and oils fills the air. The clink of glass jars becomes my secret symphony, Armand notices eventually. You're spending a lot of time on whatever this is, he says, glancing at the boxes. It's called a business, I reply evenly. He frowns. Just make sure it doesn't distract you from real responsibilities. Real responsibilities. Cooking, cleaning, smiling through insults. 3 months later, Lumi crosses its first milestone, 10,000 orders. When the payment notification hits my phone, 450,000 PKR, I have to sit down. My hands shake, but not from fear. For the first time, I feel capable, seen. That evening, during dinner, my father-in-law mentions rising inflation. I pour tea for everyone, quietly calculating profit margins in my head. My mother-in-law notices my smile. What's so amusing? She asks. Just thinking about numbers, I say, unable to hide the satisfaction. She raises an eyebrow. You wouldn't understand household finances, dear. Leave that to the men. If only she knew that her tea was being poured by the CEO of a growing brand. When the first article about Lume candles, the brand redefining home luxury, appears online, I keep it to myself, I frame a screenshot secretly on my phone, my private trophy. But secrets have a way of surfacing. One evening, Armin comes home early and finds the delivery truck outside. He looks from the boxes to me, disbelief clouding his face. "What's going on here?" I meet his gaze calmly. "A delivery. For Lumi." "You're still doing that?" His voice rises. "You're embarrassing me in front of the neighbors." "Embarrassing you?" I ask quietly. "By working?" "You don't understand how these things look," he says, tone clipped. "A wife hustling like a street vendor." The sentence dies when I slide my phone across the table, the bank balance on display. He stares. "This is your account?" "Yes," I say. "Ours used to have less." For the first time in years, he doesn't have a reply. But my mother-in-law does. She corners me the next morning, her perfume sharp, voice sharper. "Money doesn't make you respectable. A woman's place is her home." I smile. "This is my home. I just decided to build a bigger one." By winter, Lume expands beyond candles. Diffusers, body oils, curated scent boxes. Influencers start tagging us. Orders flood in from Lahore, Dubai, and even London. I hire women from the neighborhood, stay-at-home mothers who were told their time had expired after marriage. I pay them well. They work with pride. Each package we ship carries a small tag that reads, "Made by hands that refuse to stay invisible." The day Lume crosses $1 million in annual revenue, I sit alone on that same balcony where the city once looked indifferent. This time it looks alive, like it's applauding. Downstairs, I hear voices again. Familiar laughter, the same guests who once called me just a housewife. They're discussing my feature in a business magazine. I can hear my mother-in-law saying, almost grudgingly, "Well, she did something right, I suppose." Zara messages me. "They finally talking about you?" "Yeah," I reply, but they're a few chapters late. Later that night, I walk into the living room. They fall silent, mid-conversation. My father-in-law clears his throat. "Your company, this..." "Lumai, it's on the news." I nod. "Yes, we're donating part of this quarter's profit to women's education programs." My mother-in-law blinks. "Donating? Why give it away?" "Because money means nothing," I say softly, "if it doesn't help another woman stand up." For a long moment, no one speaks. The silence feels heavier than all their earlier laughter combined. That night, when I finally close my laptop, I look at the framed first sale receipt on my desk. 10 candles, 10 sparks, I whisper to my reflection in the dark window. Just a housewife, huh? And somewhere deep inside, the girl who once stood in the kitchen swallowing humiliation finally smiles. Not the polite kind, but the victorious kind that needs no audience. 6 months after that night, the house feels different. The same walls, the same furniture, yet every corner hums with a quiet shift of power. Even the servants sense it. Their greetings carry new respect. The hierarchy has bent, and though no one speaks of it, everyone feels it. Success, I've learned, changes the temperature of a room long before it changes the people in it. Armin still struggles to adjust. He tries to mask discomfort with compliments, saying things like, "You've done well, Rania, but remember where you came from." I smile when he says that. I remember all too clearly. The marble floors that gleamed while my self-worth dulled. The sound of laughter at my expense. The way the word housewife was weaponized to keep me small. But now, every time I sign a new vendor deal, every time a partner asks for my advice, I reclaim another piece of that dignity. Our latest collaboration is with a high-end wellness chain in Dubai. A 6-figure contract that will put Lume products in luxury spas across the city. When the offer comes in, I'm in my home office, surrounded by mood boards and scent samples. My phone rings. Zara's voice bursts through, bright and breathless. "Rania, we did it!" The deal's confirmed. I close my eyes for a moment, letting the words sink in. We did it. That evening, the dining table is set for another family dinner, this time to celebrate my father-in-law's birthday. The irony isn't lost on me. A year ago, I was the one cooking in silence. Tonight, they're the ones whispering about me. During dessert, My father-in-law leans back in his chair, folding his hands thoughtfully. "So, Rania," he says, "I hear your company has gone international." I nod, keeping my tone light. "We're growing fast. It's been a busy quarter." He smiles, but it's the kind that hides questions. "You've made quite a name for yourself. Of course, with that kind of money, taxes and paperwork become complicated. Perhaps it's time to bring family into the business. People who can guide you." My mother-in-law chimes in smoothly. "Exactly. Armin could manage your finances. You shouldn't have to worry about such stressful things." It takes everything in me not to laugh. They still think control is something I might surrender out of politeness. I fold my napkin and place it neatly on the table. "Thank you," I say, "but I've hired a full financial team. And Zara's managing all audits with the lawyers. Everything's transparent." The word transparent lands like a stone in water. My mother-in-law's smile stiffens. Armin clears his throat, looking anywhere but at me. That night, I find myself back on the balcony again. The city below glows like liquid gold, a reflection of everything I've fought for. I think of all the women who messaged me over the months. Strangers who wrote things like, "You gave me the courage to start again," or "Your story reminded me I'm not invisible." Each message feels heavier than profit. Each one a reminder that Lume has become more than candles and fragrances. It's a statement. The next morning, I visit our production space, a modest warehouse filled with energy and scent. Rows of women move with purpose, hands steady as they pour wax or label jars. Among them, a young mother named Samina waves when she sees me. "Madam, my daughter got admission," she says, beaming. I paid her fees from this month's bonus. I hug her, and for the first time, I understand what real legacy feels like. Not wealth, not fame, but the quiet chain of empowerment stretching from one woman's hands to another's future. By the end of the year, Lumi hosts its first press event. Reporters, investors, influencers, the works. The venue is an art gallery bathed in soft light, candles lining the walls in delicate glass. I walk in wearing white, calm, composed, unbothered. A reporter asks, "You started from your kitchen, correct? What inspired that journey?" I look straight into the camera and say, "Someone once told me I was just a housewife." That was all the inspiration I needed. The quote trends that night. Within hours, my inbox floods. Interviews, podcasts, collaboration offers. But one message stands out. An invitation from a women's entrepreneurship summit in Singapore. They want me to speak about resilience. Me. The woman who used to serve tea while others discussed business. When I tell Armin, he hesitates. "Singapore? For how long?" 3 days, I say. "Maybe 4, he frowns. "You'll be traveling alone?" I smile. Not alone. With purpose. He doesn't argue this time. Perhaps even he knows resistance now looks smaller than acceptance. At the summit, as I step onto the stage, 1,000 faces look up at me. Entrepreneurs, students, dreamers. My hands don't shake. My voice doesn't waver. I talk about failure, ridicule, and the quiet discipline of believing in yourself when no one else does. When they say you can't, I tell the crowd. What they really mean is that they're afraid you might. Applause swells through the hall like a wave. That night, I sit in my hotel room, phone buzzing with congratulations. Among them, a message from my mother-in-law. "Proud of you, Rania. We watched the speech. Everyone's talking about it." I stare at the screen for a moment, then reply simply, "Thank you." It's not forgiveness, just closure. When I return home, I'm greeted by something unexpected. Armin has redecorated the balcony. New plants, fairy lights, a small glass table. He hands me tea, awkward but sincere. "I know I wasn't supportive before," he admits. "I didn't understand, but I do now. You made something incredible." I nod, letting the silence between us feel like peace rather than punishment. Months pass. The foundation we launched under Lume's name begins funding small female-led businesses. One of our beneficiaries, a seamstress named Hiba, sends me photos of her first boutique. I post them on our social media with the caption, "From kitchen tables to boardrooms, every woman deserves her space." Soon after, a journalist visits for a follow-up feature. She asks the inevitable question, "Do your in-laws support your work now?" I pause, choosing my words carefully. They don't have to. Support is optional. Respect isn't. The article headlines the next day, "From just a housewife to industry leader, Rania Khan rewrites the rules." I read it once, then fold my laptop shut. Titles are nice, but they're just echoes. The real story isn't in headlines. It's in the faces of the women at the warehouse, in the laughter of my team when a shipment hits record sales, in the quiet satisfaction of seeing another girl believe she can. One evening, months later, I host a small dinner for all my employees. No fine china, no hierarchy, just warmth. As we eat, I hear laughter, genuine this time, and it fills the space where mockery once lived. When everyone leaves, I walk to the balcony, cup of chai in hand, lights from the city flickering below. Armin joins me, standing quietly. "You ever think about that night?" he asks softly. "The night they called me just a housewife?" I say, "Every day, but not with anger, with gratitude," he nods. "You proved them wrong." "No," I correct him, smiling faintly. "I proved myself right." Downstairs, the phone rings. Another order, another opportunity, another story waiting to be told. I let it ring once before answering. Success no longer feels like a sprint. It feels like balance. Measured, intentional, earned. As I close the balcony door, I glance once more at the city. Alive, relentless, beautiful. Every light reminds me of the women who once believed their spark didn't matter. I whisper into the quiet. It does. It always did. And just like that, the laughter that once haunted me becomes background noise to the life I built. Not out of revenge, but out of reclamation. Because when they called me just a housewife, they forgot something important. Even a housewife knows how to build a home, a dream, an empire.